Hey, this is Don Grothoff with Focus Healthy Family, and this week we are running the Best of 2024 with the Focus Healthy Family podcast, and you'll get a chance to see some of our best sessions and some of our best interviews for the week. And just hold on now because I'm going to send you to one now. Take care. I remember our honeymoon. We went out to Seattle and then from Seattle to the San Juan Islands, which are beautiful area. And it was the weather was perfect because in Seattle, it rains a lot from what we were told anyway when we were out there.
In the spring, especially.
Yeah, and it was beautiful weather. And then we took this first stayed the night at in Seattle, right by Pike's Market, and that was really cool. It, and then the next day we took a boat, a ferry, and it circled around all these little islands until we got to Friday Harbor,
Maybe Herbert.
which is one of the Sandmud Islands, and that's where we stayed. And it was almost angelic because everything was,
We,
the
s-
weather was perfect. We talked about, um, oh, this would be great to live out here and all, and it was angelic because of the fact that, we didn't have to work. It was our honeymoon. We didn't have any of the worries of the day. We were free to just enjoy the time. So, I think that enjoyment would have, if we would have moved out there, would have stopped somewhat anyway, because we would have had the everyday stuff happening.
to add to your story, we got to Seattle. We stayed at a bed and breakfast right in downtown Seattle by Pike's Market. We woke up in the morning and went out and bought something at the market, and we ate breakfast in the bay window. Um, and enjoyed. We were in Seattle more than one night because we went to the Space Needle
Yes.
and we walked around Seattle. We had a little bit of time, one or two nights there, I think. And then we took the ferry, which, like you said, was beautiful because there's a collection of islands, and most of them are small little
It was just, you
islands
just see the tops of them,
until we
basically.
got to the larger island, where we stayed and into the harbor. And so it's like this little town, and we learned the history of the history of the pig
The
wars.
oh yeah, that's right. Where there were two ends to the island, and one side was British, and the other side was England, or not was American, and they got into an argument over pigs. Sorry, the geese going over, and they got into an argument over a pig. I think it
A
was just
pig
one.
that was killed or something?
Yeah, and never really went to war. In fact, it was interesting when they had
Well, they
this.
had like a standoff. I mean, they
Yeah, it was
called
a
it the pig
standoff
war.
for it was for about a year, I think, if I remember right. And what was interesting was they had the graves there, and everybody died from either natural causes or a disease, not any
Pneumonia,
kind
or
of gunfire or war or anything like that.
because they had a cemetery as a tribute to the war and information, and that the reasons people had died, and it was, yeah, things like pneumonia and other things. So it had a lot of little history, and it had small town feel, and there was a pottery shop we went to, and we bought some pretty pottery that we stored in our attic for 22 years and just rediscovered when we
Oh, interrupted, right?
Oh, supposed to be describing this angelic scene and how fun it was, and then we go out to eat at this restaurant and we enjoy this food, and then
I
we
love the geese going. I'm watching it in your screen. It's kind of cool. We are outside on vacation, so anyway, I'm
interrupted.
again.
What happened, Don?
Well, ended up with food poisoning from the restaurant, At least that's what we kind of
I was going to say, tell it in
narrowed down.
story form. Interrupted. You woke up one morning and you were
I was
heaving.
heavy, heavy cramps and pain, and so of course, Gina went out shopping.
Well, it was our last day there, and we were supposed to then take the ferry and go to Victoria, British Columbia. That was our next stop. We did a couple stops on our honeymoon, and so we were looking forward to going to that next. So our plan that day was to go into town and do some shopping tours, and you didn't feel great.
Yeah, it
And your
was
stomach was cramping. So and I'm like, well, do you mind if I go shopping still? And I don't think you had gotten sick yet. But then I'm gone shopping and you're heaving your guts out
yeah, I
and
was in.
making moaning noises. And they know we're the honeymoon couple. Again, this is a bed and breakfast in someone's house and other couples are staying there. Um, and you're hugging the toilet and I'm out shopping.
And
So
I end up going. So
we come home and it's the
when
afternoon
you came home,
and you swelled up. You got like
I got, yeah, my hand swelled
you
up. My
turned red and you were swollen and we were not sure what to do.
so we went over to the hospital on the
No,
island,
no,
which
there was
was
in the hospital, it was a clinic.
wine. Yeah,
And the doctor met us there. It was after hours.
it's a small little clinic on the island.
And they were concerned about you and not knowing what it was, and they wanted to get you to the hospital. Well, the only way there was to helicopter you there. And they couldn't take me. Um,
So you were a brand new bride, yeah, and having to take on the responsibility of packing everything up, getting in the car, getting
and
across the ferry.
the bed and breakfast was great. Like they helped us out.
Yeah.
They helped us, I think, even to contacting the clinic and then we met them there and you got in the helicopter and
Well, yeah, and
and
that
I went
wasn't,
back and packed up and I had to take like the early morning ferry at I don't know, 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning.
well, and the bed and breakfast also helped us find a bed and breakfast over there
Yeah,
because
they
I
knew we were supposed to go to Victoria. They called the next bed and breakfast for us and told us we were going to be delayed. And they found us a bed and breakfast in
right across from the
Anacortes,
hospital, basically.
Washington, in a town close to the hospital. So I go out the next morning. Um, I had talked to you the night before. They had given you Demerol, and I talked to you, and you like fell asleep as we're
That
talking.
was that was great.
And so then I drive to the mainland in the rental car that I'm not supposed to be driving because I'm under 25. Remember?
Yeah, you were.
I was 24. And I drive past the hospital because it looks like a little elementary school. I'm, working in the big giant rehab hospital at the time in Charlotte, and it was this tiny little hospital. And I walk in like, oh, you must be the honeymoon couple.
Everybody in the hospital knew about us,
Well, and whatever whether it was food poisoning, whatever happened, allergic reaction, it cleared.
The next day I was fine, and but they said to stay. They still wanted us to
You had to
stay
stay close by for one more night, and
just to make
that's
sure
and that's where they
that's
helped
where.
us find that other bed and breakfast. And it was this widowed man,
Yeah, so
and we stayed with him a night, and he was the sweetest man. And we learned a little bit about the town of Anacortes before then, the next day, moving on.
which was the Anacortes was the home of oh gosh,
President?
no, the singer Burl Ives.
Okay,
It was the home of Burl
that's right.
Ives. So we were able to go on, but that vacation was interrupted.
And yet we got a new excursion
Yeah.
from that interruption, which was a lot of fun.
So hello, this is Don,
And it's Gina here with Focused Healthy Family.
and today we're this is podcast number 119.
And we are live in Gordonsville, Virginia on vacation.
Yes, it's slowly getting dark though. We decided to come up and look and try to find the sunset, but it's kind of cloudy today. But we decided to talk about um,
Our topic today is vacation interrupted.
and so because this present vacation we're having was interrupted, and we're going to talk about that too.
So, vacation, the definition of vacation.
I'll give oh you want I'll read it. So there's two. Uh, an extended period of leisure and recreation, especially one spent away from home or in traveling. And the second one is the action of leaving something one previously occupied.
And so when we think of vacation, we generally think of that first definition, going on vacation. Why do we go on vacation? We go on vacation to recharge, to refresh, to reconnect. Don and I celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary on May the 14th, and this was we took this opportunity to celebrate it. And it is dark and my notes are hard to see. We took an opportunity with our timeshare to come out here and, enjoy some time away.
And we started out it had a very good, we had a lot of fun. We,
Was going to talk about the meanings of vacation.
that's true.
He doesn't have the notes that I wrote
Yeah,
because they're
no.
next to me. Um, so generally, you think about vacation, you think about going on family vacation, you think about the differences in vacationing. Or should we talk about the other definition first, Don?
Well, the other definition is about vacating, about um, when they talk about being something that you previously occupied. But we want to kind of take it a little bit further than that,
So the other definition, which, it made sense when you read it, but it's like I never think about it that way.
about
The
vacating.
action of leaving something that one previously occupied. So leaving something that you previously occupied. So, when we go on vacation, we leave daily responsibility. We leave our household chores, childcare, jobs, right? We're vacating those things that we normally would do.
Notes.
You're so quiet. You have nothing to say.
I'm on vacation.
Don has vacated his brain. We had a long discussion before we started this podcast.
Yeah, but it's trying to, well, so we're, talking about vacay. What like I talked about with the story about going to Seattle for a honeymoon. We kind of vacated emotionally too. We didn't have the worries, the
Vacated emotionally?
well, in
That
the fact of, we didn't have the daily worries, the daily thoughts, the daily things. We were free to just do and enjoy.
Okay. I think of vacationally. If you vacate emotionally, you like detach emotionally. We were on
Yeah,
our honeymoon.
but I just
We were
remember,
we were vacating responsibility and
well, yeah,
work
because I
and
remember
jobs.
we thought it was so cool and we enjoyed it so much. But as you think about it, if because we even joked, or I don't know if it was joking or just seriously talking about someday, moving out there.
Well,
But
yeah, you talked about how we enjoyed the experience so much, and that part of the reason we enjoyed it so much was, yeah, we liked the area. It was fascinating to us being East Coasters, going to the Northwest Coast for the first time. But part of the luxury and enjoyment was because we were on vacation,
well,
right?
yeah, it's kind of angelic, I guess, or whatever, and and fun and joyous. And so if we would have gone, oh, and then we moved, well, all of that stuff still comes with you. You have to you'll have to have a job, you'll have to have daily responsibilities, things. So it's so that's why I said vacating the emotionally is that you're just in a different place in your mind, I guess, as far as it you're free of a lot of the regular responsibilities.
Social responsibilities
Yeah.
and pressures and yeah,
Well, and like worries and stuff. For that little period of time, we didn't worry about finances. We didn't
yeah,
worry.
yeah. I mean, a honeymoon is designed to be that, right? You're
Yeah.
newly married, you're pretty new in your relationship usually, and everything's exciting, and now you're this couple and you go away together and you have this adventure before you have to get back to everyday life. Because typically, a honeymoon is right after the wedding, the celebration. And I know many people have had to go on vacation later, or, they take a second honeymoon or don't really get their honeymoon initially, depending on their circumstances. Um,
And you do family vacation to, kind of bond with the family, to have the family have some ability to enjoy and have fun and all of that. Um, and that one is a little bit tougher. You don't necessarily, as far as the parents go, you don't lose the responsibility and some of,
Someone once said to me, going on vacation with children is basically continuing to parent, but without all the conveniences of home, being in a different location where it's often more difficult.
so
And
it's
so
more
it's not
challenging.
always relaxing for the parents. Why is my camera so fuzzy? Do you see that on our screens?
Yeah.
Um, right. So yeah, different types of vacations. And for us, this is a first time in 16 years that the two of us have gone away together. So we've had these timeshare points and we've used them for family vacations. I've used them. I went by myself a couple times. I went with one daughter. Back in 2016, I we made plans to go for my son's graduation. He was dating his girlfriend, who they're still together, and they both graduated. And so we went as a celebration, and it was going to be us and his girlfriend's mom and their sister, and we were all going to go. And then things changed that the mom and sister couldn't go, and so I invited another, older daughter's friend, so her mom and got to go. So we went from having my youngest having someone they connected with to the middle child having something connected with. So there was an interruption before we even went. And then we go away. We're at Myrtle Beach. We're having a great time, swimming in the pools. I mean, part of it was interrupted by my older daughter's OCD affected us in some ways,
Mm.
despite the fun of the trip. And yet we still had a lot of fun. And then the morning we were supposed to check out. You have to be out by like 10 in the morning. In the middle of the night or like 1 in the morning, we woke up and Lexi, our youngest, had a fever of like 104. And she had some symptoms that just scared the crap out of me. And I'm like, meningitis. And
Oh
there
yeah.
were some symptoms that just made me nervous. And I'm talking to Angie, the other mom, and I find an urgent care. And we're in South Carolina. We had North Carolina Medicaid. And I'm like, where can I go that insurance is going to cover it? So I'm figuring all this out. And my friend was great. She stepped up and she packed up everything for me because I had to take my daughter to urgent care and she had her daughter, um, my
Yeah.
son and his girlfriend, and then my other daughter to take care of and get packed up. They're 18, Abby's 14, and the youngest is 7, I guess. So I go out to the urgent care to get her checked out. And my friend did an amazing job of packing up and bringing everything to the van. So we got back from urgent care and she had managed to do all that for me. She was a great help too when I was worried about Lexi, and she said, "Oh, let's find a place to go." And luckily the doctor checked her out. There was, not meningitis and um, whatever. She had an infection or whatever. So now she's feeling crappy and we were going to go to a store to do some, souvenir shopping before we headed home. So instead, I think the our older daughter went with our friend and her daughter, and they went to the souvenir shop, and we headed home. I'm trying to remember the pieces of it, but plans changed, and and yet we still had a good time from it, and we had to make do. So life happens even when you're on vacation,
Well,
is the
that's why,
point of the
yeah,
story.
we talk about interrupted like it was even here. And it like you said, it's about the fact that, life is still going on, even though you've vacated some from it. And I think a big point of it is not letting that interruption um, stop you from what the purpose of vacation is about. For us, this was very important, and I think it's an important thing for people to pay attention to taking, even like we did staycation one time where we stayed home.
Hmm.
It's really important for your mental health, especially when you're going through like we're going through and others are going through when they're dealing with an aging loved one, is to be able to break away, to vacate from,
responsibilities. And it was, I think, harder to do the staycation because we were there in our house.
yeah,
We should tell that story though, because our kids were, they were young, maybe three. Our older two are 4 years apart. So 3 and 7, somewhere in that range. And we made plans. We did meal prep ahead of time. We
mhm.
got paper plates. We decorated the house. We made like with pasta. We made
The in the doorway.
yeah, whatever you would call
Yeah,
that,
a
where we
little
string pasta together. We hung it from the doorway to
like a
make
bead
like
doorway, but with
right. And we
pasta.
did some different things. We labeled the kitchen. I forget what we called it. We came up with special names for it, like we were somewhere on vacation.
We did we kind of set up a
We
beach kind
we
of
did
thing.
some day trips, a beach.
I thought
Yeah.
beach theme or so anyway, but yeah. So
We did some day trips. So, but we planned for it
yeah,
and we chose because you were running your business and I was working part-time. So we both took off from work. We had the meal plan so that we could easily heat up food, use paper plates, not have as many responsibilities like
well,
washing
yeah,
dishes. And
and we really did kind of vacate from the job, vacate from
it took a lot of conscious effort because we were still, and so we went like a day trip. We went out to Albemarle and Tomorrow Mountain, which is a mountain range out. It was just what, 45 minutes an hour
yeah.
from where we lived. There was a community pool out there that we went
Oh,
to.
that's
Oh,
right.
we
Yeah,
went to the drive-in movie.
yeah, we did. Well, was that during that
I
time?
don't know. So
Anyway,
anyways, we did some day trip kind of stuff. We did some fun, goofy things at home. The kids were young and it was exciting just to like make decorations for the house and play games and just have mom and dad because we juggled. I worked or dad worked most of the time.
yeah.
And so we were all together. So that was a little bit exciting. So there's different ways to vacation. And, you know, vacation interrupted. We've had interruptions, so to speak, on this vacation, yet interruptions happen and they cause us to think and reflect. And I think for me, I've been able to vacate some ideas, misconceptions, some things that were holding me back while we were on vacation, and in part because of the interruptions.
Well, and you allowed I found like this time, and well, you're good at crisis too. I mean, when talk about when you took him to the clinic and all that, but even this time, um, you it bothered you, and you kind of took it in some, and got sad or frustrated, whatever the different emotions you went through, a couple different emotions in this trip here, but you came through it and you pulled yourself through it, and I
So you're
think,
talking about me pulling myself through, but didn't really say what. Like, um,
well, I
oh,
was going to leave that to you. I didn't
okay.
want to,
So some things we came on this vacation as our timeshare. They want to do updates with you. They'll say, for $50 or 179, you pay for 3 nights. You go, you listen to the talk, and then you get $100 gift card back. So you're getting this really cheap vacation that doesn't use your regular points. And they called us when we had just moved into our house and we're like, our 30-year anniversary is coming up and we've never gone on, when we went on our idyllic honeymoon, we're like, oh, we're going to come back for our 20th, or maybe we even said 10th anniversary.
yeah,
And then it was, oh, we're going to come back for our 20th. And oh, we're going to go to Seattle again for our 25th, right? And we haven't had, what you doing?
giving you some light.
Oh, we haven't had the opportunity to do that because of life. And so we're like, okay, now's the time finally. It's our 30 year. No, this is not Seattle, but we were in the mountains of Virginia at this cool resort that I came to 5 years ago and with the kids and wanted to bring Don to. And it was a chance to kind of get away. There's horses here, there's a farm, there's all this great stuff. So we get here Sunday. We'd stopped at the grocery stores on our way here. We're having a great time. The next day we have to be at the timeshare talk at 1:30. We know it's at least an hour. We know it typically runs a little longer. We had plans to go into Gordonsville afterwards. So they explain all these updates and changes. And then it's like, because we hadn't been to an update in 4 years, all of a sudden the ability to upgrade our timeshare became like a huge deal, like a huge discounted deal and like a super discount. And yet we knew financially we were not
Yeah.
going to do that. And we have to prep when we go to these talks because they really try to convince you. And I'm sitting there and like, oh my gosh, this is a great deal. We've wanted to upgrade. And had we known we had this special for because things got locked in, you know, and so there was that disappointed, what you talk about. And so I had to vacate the idea that things have to look a certain way. And then we go into town afterwards. It's already 3:30, but it's almost 4 o'clock. We get into Gordonsville and I wanted to take you to the Civil War Museum. It's not open on Monday. You know, we go on vacation midweek and I forget it's not everybody's weekend. They're closed on Monday. We go to the visitor center. A lot of things are closed. It's by now it's after 4 where he tells us about some cool antique shops and it's like, oh, we get over there finally. It's like 4:20. They close at 4:30. And
Yeah.
so
There was a lot of
in my
disappointing stuff.
mind, I'm like, oh, we just get the timeshare talk over with. And then it's like, oh, we didn't plan for this. And having to let go of just, there's a bug on my screen, having to let go of the frustration of those things,
Yeah,
it felt like an interruption to have to go to the timeshare talk. Like it
yeah.
was disappointing to me in that we had to say no to something that was a great deal. And so that just
Well, and then we,
have to make that decision when we're supposed to be off having fun felt like a big interruption to me. And go ahead.
well, and then we found out some things about our daughter's robotics team that might be
Changing.
changing, and
So
that
just
was disappointing,
well, yeah, and just
because
we were sitting out here actually enjoying the sunset,
yeah,
and you happen to go to your email,
yeah,
which maybe we should lock our phones up. And yet we have kids at home. We have a 15 and 22-year-old in our house. We got to be in touch with them, right? We have to have the ability to reach out to them. So you check your email, we find out this stuff, and we're like, oh my gosh, how's this going to affect her and all this stuff. And it's like, wow, so much for vacation.
yeah, yeah. But that's why, like I said, I think I really give you a lot of kudos because you pulled through, you didn't today we had a really neat day. We enjoyed us, so we didn't let it take
Well, and
us.
those interruptions help us refocus.
Yeah,
There's going to be interruptions and we can say, oh my God, this is awful. Because a whole bunch of stuff happened yesterday. And it's like, oh my God, what the hell? Because we started the day out really good and we had great intentions. And we kept being, okay, okay, well, it's okay. Gordonsville was closed. It's okay. And then we're sitting here enjoying the sunset. And oh my God, now we got this problem we got to go home to.
yeah,
And well, even before that, even though we're away, I'm coordinating appointments for my mom as soon as we get back,
yeah,
pretty much. We get back on Wednesday. I work all day Thursday in Charlotte, and then I've got Friday appointment with my parents and Monday. And so I'm having to coordinate that while we're trying to be on vacation. Yet the interruptions help us refocus.
yeah,
They
and
help us
stay on path of having the fun, having the vacation.
and just because we're away, we can really reflect on it. And we spent some time talking about things. We did some tapping. I was just really feeling, oh, and I'm like, tap with me, Don. Let's release all this. And then I wanted to tap up the positive of, okay, these things happen, but what have we enjoyed? What's been great for us? Let's think about that because it's so easy to get wrapped up into, oh my God, this has happened now. And oh my God, now this has happened. What's going to happen next? Right. um, rather than, okay, stuff has happened, and yet we can still make the most of the situation. And so we were a little frustrated last night. We found Friends on TV. They were doing a marathon, and that helped us laugh. And we go to bed, and I woke up early, and I'm like, I want to get out and walk. And I put on my shoes, and I got together, and there's a lake. I walked down by the lake. I went up to where the horses are because I just love visiting the animals. So it's like 7 o'clock in the morning when I do this. And I just have some quiet time to myself and talk to the horses. I meet the cat. I search for the little pig that's just a couple months old. And I had that time to myself. I come back, you and I walk a little bit together. We rent the boat and went out on the boat for a little bit. And we make the most of the time we have, and we're able to communicate and talk about things for when we go home because that's the reality of life, right? We're parents of 3 kids. We're in the sandwich generation. I'm helping my mom navigate changes for herself and my dad and figuring that out. And yet we're also enjoying ourselves.
Yeah.
So when I came up with this title, Vacation Interrupted, I'm like, vacation interrupted? Like, has it really been interrupted? Or did we take an interruption from our life to get away? And despite those things, we're able to be in a relaxed place. Um, Don's being distracted because
Sorry, yes,
there's a car pulling up behind us or a golf cart. Don, come back.
yeah, I am. I'm just, it's getting so dark. We finally, you know,
So things happen, and yet, I had a fall today and hurt myself, and my knee went to give out on me. And so I leaned back to sit against the chair, and the chair slid back. There was a vent. It fell in. I hit the windowsill, slid down, scraped my back up. But what did I do? I like grabbed me the ice pack. I laid on the floor. I called my chiropractor. I made an appointment for tomorrow or Thursday. And I was like, we were eating chocolate after lunch when this happened. I'm like, feed me my chocolate down here on the floor. And we talked about what we did want to do. And what's the moral of the story, Don?
well, it's life's going to continue when you go on vacation or when you vacate from something, and it's going to keep it still goes on, and it's going to come into your vacation, and not to let it distract you or take you away from continuing that time, that vacation, that to still enjoy it.
So, Don, what ideas do you feel like you vacated while we were here on vacation? What did you let go of? What did you release? What did you relinquish?
Um, I just like, you know, I tend to get tense about vacations, financial, time, work, all that. And I think I've really kind of let go of that. So I need to get a light on me. How about that?
What?
You're very dark.
Oh, well, you've just lit yourself up,
I
not
know.
me. I'm just encouraging you to look at the camera because you're talking to the
Yeah, I
clouds.
know.
So, okay, so you've let go of the financial strain and just like, I'm gonna have
Financial, the
fun.
time, work. I've done a little bit with the podcast stuff, but no, I haven't. If you turn it this way, because like I say, you're very dark.
Well, how do I get it lighter for me?
Well, if you just turn it toward yourself, I mean, that's a little bit much.
Ah,
But hey,
I'm on to suck your blood.
so real quickly, what did you vacate from this?
Sanity, because I just became a vampire, which doesn't make any sense because
Well,
they
we got
avoid the light. So vacating, things have to look a certain way. We met some cool people while we were here, and we talked to other timeshare owners, and it's good to do that because you learn ins and outs, and you learn that this was not our only chance to get this really good deal. And she's like, she was great. She was like, no, you can bargain. You can really get what you want. You can.
yeah,
And so releasing those expectations and those ideas. And, I had to let go of that. My daughter had this perfect team now, and she had a tough experience, and she made this great decision, and that things were going to just be stable for her, that despite other things going on, like this was going to be that one thing that was consistent for her. And just letting go of just the expectations of how I think things are supposed to be, and realizing she can handle this,
yeah,
realizing I don't have to protect her all the time. When you have a kid with special needs, mental health issues, you're like walking on eggshells all the time, and you're
yeah.
wanting to make things great for her. And I realized I'm trying to get her approval. So I'm vacating that idea of this is her experience. And are you waving at bugs, or are you telling me to speed it
No,
up?
well, both.
Come back, Don. We watched the podcast we did last week, and we realized how scattered
I know it just
and which really speaks to the sandwich generation, that day it was a day in the life and we were in the middle of it. And even when we sat down afterwards to talk about it, I'm rambling and I'm going over stuff because when you're in the middle of all this,
that's
it
what
can be hard
happened.
to focus. It can be hard to do other things that you need to do, have a concise podcast where you have ideas that you discuss and talk about. And So join us um for okay. We wrap up now.
So I was wondering if that was where it was going.
So here we are, and it's dark, and we still have some plans for tomorrow. And we hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast. We're glad you're here. Hoping you're laughing at our silliness, especially from last week's podcast. If you want to just sit and laugh at us,
You got
go
like half
for
a
it.
face too.
Because we laughed at us. I am now Phantom of the Opera. um,
Feel like we're out camping, it's just
it's like this place is luxury camping. These
yes.
places we stay, they look cabin-like from the outside, but they have all the amenities. So laugh at us, laugh at yourself, laugh at life.
And if you like this and you know somebody that could use this kind of information and
Or just a really good laugh.
good laugh, yes.
Share our podcasts with them. We're on YouTube. We're funnier, I think, when you can see us.
We're
Or
on Instagram.
listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. Tune into Tuesday Tips.
Check out our Ask the OT with Gina. We do that. We're doing that on YouTube, and you can go to Focus Healthy Family, and
Says
we should have the dates up there coming up pretty soon as
we've
far
been,
as what's coming up.
we've been doing them a lot on Monday evenings or Wednesday in the midday. Reach out with us if you have questions about caring for aging loved ones. We are happy to answer the questions while we swat at bugs. So, this is what you can do caring for your loved one. Um,
You want,
Reach out to us, connect with us. You can join us live. There's a lot you can do,
and it doesn't have to be in the dark.
but sometimes that's fun.
And remember, how you speak to your children and your family shapes their future and yours.
And have a good night, literally. Good night.